Several variations appear within the model of centers and peripheries in the International Encyclopedia. In the entries on Great Britain and France, modern dance is presented as a belated development. Dancers were first influenced by Wigman and her contemporaries, and then by US dancers, Graham in Britain, Nicolai and Cunningham in France, before coalescing distinctive styles of their own in the 1970s and 80s. The entries on Japan and Korea also trace how dancers first absorbed influences from Germany in the 20s and 30s, and then from the US in the 50s and 60s, but do not posit a time lag. Rather, Japanese and Korean artists are seen creating forms that fuse Asian and European influences all along. The entries on Argentina and Brazil roughly follow the same pattern, dating modern dance from a Latin American tour by Isadora Duncan in 1916 to internationally recognized companies and choreographers emerging in the 1970s. In the entry on Hungary by Gideon Dines, the years of communist rule are presented as a state-imposed interruption from the end of the Second World War until the mid-1980s, when diverse styles of modern dance reemerged and flourished. All these variations assume that German and American modern dance were distinct practices, and most imply a progress narrative, which sees developments before the 1970s as inherently derivative and celebrates developments after the 1970s for realizing a national style through the efforts of native-born, not migrant practitioners. In other words, the International Encyclopedia enshrines the core periphery model alongside the historiography of the nation-state. But what if the transnational history glimpsed in Brandenburg's Der moderne Tanz more accurately reflects the circulation of the genre? Reading across entries in the International Encyclopedia, it is possible to discern an alternate history of modern dance as artists and educators move between the frames of myriad nation-states. Over the last 2 decades, English language scholars have begun to visualize this alternate history. Some studies highlight the development of modern dance movements outside Germany and the United States, often in conjunction with other genres of theatrical and non-theatrical dance in Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Palestine, Israel, Australia, India, Bangladesh, China, and Taiwan. There are studies either in print or forthcoming on modern dance movements in all those countries in English. Other studies attend international tours under private management or state sponsorship, whether by well-known artists such as Martha Graham, Catherine Dunham, and Alvin Ailey, or by lesser-known artists such as Tortola Valencia, Kawakami and Sadayako, and Cho Song-hee. Yet other studies re-examine the careers of dancers who migrated across national borders both voluntarily and involuntarily. Valeska Gert, Kurt Jooss, Pola Narenska. You've heard Karen Mozingo's excellent research already at this conference. Hanya Holm, Lottie Gosler, Silan Chen, and Michio Ito. And many more inquiries into the transnational and global dimensions of modern dance are underway. The longer version of this essay will be published in a volume, The Bloomsbury Companion to Dance, edited by Cheryl Dodds. And if anyone would like an advance copy to hear about all these new studies, please do send me an email. Amid this plethora of case studies, alternate histories and alternate historiographies become evident. Broadly speaking, the transnational paradigms now in formation trace networks of exchange, explore how local conditions shape the assimilation and transformation of influences from abroad, and highlight how modern dance and dance modernism often adapt non-theatrical genres. While studies of individual artists emphasize networks of exchange and local interactions, regional studies emphasize the intersection of theatrical and non-theatrical genres. Yet even the single best volume to date, The Modernist World, co-edited by Stephen Ross and Alana Lindgren in 2015, does not present a single model, but a gamut of possible models. Hence, I'm attempting to elucidate here the parameters of an emergent historiography. Recent publications on Michio Ito reveal a diversity of transnational approaches to modern dance. Here I have literally an entire stack of books that I'm going to be discussing one by one, but it shows you how much new scholarship there is on Ito. Born in Tokyo to an artistic family, Ito studied Japanese and Western styles of music and dance, and in 1911, he traveled to Berlin at age 18 to pursue further study. Seeing performances by Isadora Duncan and the Ballet Russe compelled him to focus on dance, and he enrolled at Dalcroze's Institute at Hellerau in 1912. His training there became an important basis for his later choreography. When the First World War broke out, Ito left Germany and moved to London, where he began to present his solo dances for both intimate salon audiences and large commercial audiences. His salon performances led to his meeting W.B. Yeats, and Ito played a decisive role in Yeats's dance play At the Hawkswell, a drama that adapted and modernized Japanese No. Later that same year, Ito moved to New York City, and over the next 12 years, he toured his repertoire of solos, codified and taught his movement language, and collaborated with theatrical modernists, notably Eugene O'Neill and Martha Graham. In early 1929, he resettled in Los Angeles, continued his teaching and mentoring, and staged large-scale pageants. Detained as a Japanese national in 1941, he was deported to Japan during the Second World War and later staged works for the American occupation forces and for Japanese television. Given this transcontinental itinerary, it is not surprising that Ito has become a central figure in the emergent historiography of transnationalism. And the converse also holds. In the heyday of the nation-state historiography, Ito was a somewhat marginal figure. So in an essay in this volume, World in Dance, an essay in this volume, World in Dance. Sorry, I'm bad at this. Artistic Utopias, Michio Ito and the Trope of the International, Yutian Wang contextualizes Ito's career within Asian American immigration and labor history, focusing on the policies that allowed the artist to enter the United States in 1916 as a gentleman, but then deported him in 1943 as an enemy alien. Complementing Wang is an essay by Carol Zorgen-Frey in this volume, Moving Across Borders, and from the perspective of Japanese studies in her 2014 essay, Strategic Unweaving Ito Michio and the Diasporic Dancing Body. Illuminating the worldview of artists and intellectuals like Ito's family, Zorgen-Frey sees his choreography extending the belief that Japan, never colonized and economically strong, served as a repository for Asian culture and excelled, quote, in the realms of culture, spirituality, and philosophy, while deeming the West, though technically fecund, to be culturally, philosophically, and spiritually sterile, end quote. European modernists like Yeats espoused a similar view for different reasons. And in wartime London, when Japan sided with Britain against Germany, Ito's performances in Hawkswell resonated with both Japanese and European ideas. Neither Wang nor Zorgen-Frey engage Ito's practice. It has been passed down from dancer to dancer. This transmission becomes an important resource for Carrie Preston, whose book, Learning to Kneel, No Modernism and Journeys in Teaching, reflects on her own experiences of learning Ito's dances. Here's the cover of the Carrie Preston volume. Finally learning how to show these, aren't I? In her study, Preston questioned what she calls, quote, our tendencies to assume bad Orientalism and appropriation as opposed to good multiculturalism and hybridity. Simply put, she asserts that, quote, Ito's desire for cultural fusion coexisted with his Orientalism, and that, quote, cultural exchange is problematic and inevitable, shaped by both misunderstanding and remarkable creativity. Thus, Preston counters Wang's frame of Asian American studies and Zorgen-Frey's frame of Japanese studies, arguing that Ito never saw, okay,